The legacy media is telling everyone that Netflix has bought Warner Brothers. The deal is done. It's over. Stick a fork in it. The era of cinemas and movie theaters is over. But as you've probably learned from watching this channel over the years, that could not be farther from the truth. Now, Paramount is weighing whether or not to attempt a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers Discovery. And President Trump just weighed in late last night, letting the world know he will be a decision maker in whether or not to save Hollywood. Hello, folks. Hello, friends. Welcome back yet again. It is a beautiful day as we are joined together yet again to talk about entertainment. We're going to variety first. Click the like button. It could not be more consequential, ladies and gentlemen. We're talking about whether or not movie theaters are going to survive. And yes, Hollywood may be begging to survive, and their savior is none other than the Orange Man. Get ready. Buckle in. It's a video for the ages. Todd Spangler, Paul Harris have this one. Trump calls Ted Sarandos, that's the head of Netflix, a fantastic man, but says Netflix Warner Brothers deal would give streamer very big market share. Quote, it could be a problem. What is Trump up to? Well, we're going to find out in just a minute. He's going to go way beyond what most presidents would ever do, as he so often does. And of course, we're not here to weigh in on the politics of it. We're here to talk to you about whether or not Hollywood lives to see another day. And what do we mean by that? Well, Netflix wants to buy Warner Brothers. They're in exclusive talks now, and they think they can get it done. Fine, fun, okay. But the movie stars want to keep making movies. It turns out Netflix may not have any interest in that at all. They would like Warner Brothers to be part of their big cabal of streaming. And you know, Netflix right now is playing very nice and declaring to everybody, oh, no. Warner Brothers is going to keep making movies for theaters for the foreseeable future. Well, yeah, of course they are. They've got contractual obligations to do so. They'll face massive penalties, and Netflix is not going to buy Warner Brothers for at least another 2 years. It's got to pass all kinds of regulatory hurdles. Netflix also tried what would you say? Charm offensive. No, that sounds offensive. A charm campaign with the Orange Man recently in November with Sarandos showing up and trying to cuddle up with Trump. But the Ellisons who own Paramount, they've done a ton for President Trump. And now the question is, will he betray them? Can he betray them even? I mean, is it a president's job to dive in? Let's go through the news, folks. This is big. President Donald Trump on Sunday confirmed he recently met with Netflix co-CEO Ted Sarandos at the White House to discuss the Warner Brothers Discovery deal. This is big again. Why? Because he's not just admitting that he sat down with Ted Sarandos at the White House. He's going on, and this broke last night. Boy, we get lucky sometimes, folks. We thought about covering this on Saturday, and I said, you know, we're going to hold up just maybe 48 hours. I think things are going to change. Boy. So he didn't just go meet with him. It's being confirmed now. They talked about the purpose of the meeting was the Warner Brothers Discovery deal. And what does Trump say? He said the market share of a combined Netflix with Warner Brothers and HBO Max could be a problem. Trump, speaking with reporters on the red carpet of the Kennedy Center Honors event in Washington, D.C., said Netflix's deal to acquire Warner Brothers Studios and streaming businesses will require a review. And here's where we get into the something to take note of. Trump says, quote, I'll be involved in that decision. Holy moly. Presidents normally don't decide, at least not publicly, whether or not the federal government is going to allow for a merger. But Trump is just coming out and saying, yep, I'm going to be a part of it. And now the question is, after all the Ellisons have done, is Trump going to let this go through? A lot of people are terrified. And you know who's terrified? I mean, you talk about strange bedfellows. Pocahontas. That's right, Elizabeth Warren, the senator, is out there. She's on Team Trump right now. You've got movie stars on Team Trump. George Clooney needs the Orange Man suddenly. And why? Because if Netflix buys Warner Brothers, they will have purchased essentially, I mean, there's some debate about how big HBO Max is, but they'll have purchased one of the biggest streamers and added it to the biggest traditional streamer. YouTube is far larger, but not in the same exact business model. But Netflix will add Warner Brothers to them. And then at the same time, Netflix is talking about openly, they don't believe in the theatrical window as it currently exists. So you would have the biggest streamer made way bigger, plus they might be able to essentially rip the theaters to shreds. And if they do what we think they're going to do, Disney is not going to live there, and theaters is the solo carrier of the movie business. No, Disney would have to respond to whatever Netflix does, and Netflix is likely to put pressure on theaters to say, hey, we're going to get such and such and such and such deal, and theaters are already, at the edge of collapse. Let's walk through this because The Hill has this. Dominic Mastrangelo says Netflix Warner Brothers deal looks like an anti-monopoly nightmare from Elizabeth Warren. Again, folks, what a strange situation. Hollywood hated the idea of the Ellisons, Trump buddies, buying up Warner Brothers. They hated the idea. And then Netflix swooped in, and suddenly the whole Hollywood machine has turned against Netflix and said, save us, Orange Man, save us, please, because we don't want to go extinct quite yet. Senator Elizabeth Warren is expressing concern about Netflix's planned acquisition of movie maker Warner Brothers, saying the deal could raise major questions about antitrust and competitive balance. Quote, this deal looks like an anti-monopoly nightmare, Warren said Friday. A Netflix Warner Brothers would create one massive media giant with control of close to half of the streaming market, threatening to force Americans into higher subscription prices and fewer choices over what and how they watch, while putting American workers at risk. Wowza. Let's go to Axios right now. You notice which kinds of websites we're going to, right? Right? Because, again, the media is not going to tell you what's really going on here. They need to befriend President Trump in a way they've never thought they would have to. And why? Because they don't want the Netflix deal to go through. At the same time, they despise still the idea of the Ellisons owning all this, but it wouldn't be monopoly territory. And, the Ellisons would still be in favor of movies in movie theaters. It's a big, big, big deal. Let's talk about it. Paramount could go hostile after losing to Netflix. This is Sarah Fisher and Dan Primick. Now, this is the big news that you need to know about today. We don't think we're going to get today a response quite yet, but Paramount, we're told, has been fuming behind the scenes for the weekend. They feel like they were cheated out of this. And you can debate it, right? You can debate whether or not Paramount made a better deal, better offer, or whether or not it was Netflix. But Paramount, what they did is, after 2 rounds of offering clearly the best deal, Warner Brothers and David Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, said, no. We're not going to take that deal. Get us another round. And then the minute that Paramount, Skydance, was unable to get the biggest bid, they didn't even know they didn't have the biggest bid. But the minute they didn't have the biggest bid, Warner Brothers took the deal. Oh, Netflix, here we go. Stop the bids, stop the rounds. Okay? And partially it might be because of this. We'll talk about it. Paramount was bested by Netflix on Friday in its efforts to buy Warner Brothers Discovery, but it may still appeal directly to Warner Brothers Discovery shareholders through a hostile takeover offer. Paramount could argue that its all-cash bid of $30 a share is better in terms of both price and the likelihood of regulatory approvals, although it also would need to disclose more information about its debt financing. Let's go back again. What is Trump doing Sunday night when he says it could be a problem? Talking about Warner Brothers. Is he signaling? This is where it's so interesting. Gosh, I love this. The consequences could not be higher. The end of the cinematic era of a century. And I know some of you disagree with that and think Netflix, they're going to change their minds and suddenly like movie theaters. No, they're not. No, folks, Netflix has the opportunity to make millions, cajillions of millions, some might say, off Stranger Things, the finale, by putting in as many screens as you can in theaters at a time when they're so desperate you can't believe it. Don't listen to all this stuff about Zootopia being big. It's big in China. It's not big in the United States. It is big in the United States, but it's not record-breaking in the United States, and they need something. Give them something, please. It looks like Avatar might not be as strong as they need. And Netflix has the opportunity, and they're like, even though all of our Stranger Things finales are sold out, we're really not going to give you more than 500 screens, which is abysmal. And we're not going to give you more than 24 hours. They could sell out. They could break all kinds of records with the Stranger Things finale if they put it in theaters for 1 week with 4,000 screens, and they won't do it. And you know why they won't do it? Because they're sticking it to the theaters. They want to give just a drip, just a single drip of hope and say, well, we might one day come on by and save you, but this is what it would look like if we did. Oh, man. So what is Trump doing when he comes out and he says it could be a problem? Is he signaling to the Ellisons, is he signaling to them, go for the hostile takeover? Because it's going to be hard. Is that what he's signaling? I want to jump real quick, okay? We're going to come back to the Paramount hostile takeover article out of Axios. But let's jump real quick. Charlie Gasparino. You know him. Fox Business senior correspondent, New York Post columnist. One of the absolute best in the business. I stand by that. The man is phenomenal at covering business and everything that's breaking. He says on December 6th, which, you know, the news is moving quickly. So has he changed his mind? Don't know. But so far, Charlie Gasparino says that Warner Brothers Discovery is far more likely to collect its $5.8 billion breakup fee than getting this next Netflix deal through the regulatory process. A Trump administration regulator speaking on the condition of anonymity. So what's going on here? What are these leaks about? Are these leaks to tell Paramount? Go for it, baby. Take the hostile takeover? Is that what they're up to? Don't know. Could be. Should be. Might be. Would it be? All right, let's read a little bit farther down here. It says, Netflix only agreed to buy Warner Brothers Discovery Studio and streaming assets for a combination of cash and stock, which their stock dropped, so that's going to be tougher. They'll still do it. After Warner Brothers cable businesses are spun out into a separate company, Paramount's offer was for the entire business. A source close to Paramount said the company, which didn't have visibility into Netflix's offer until Friday morning, aka this whole thing was kept secret from them, legitimately thinks it made the best bid and is currently exploring next steps. The operative word is patience, which again is why we don't believe today we're going to get an answer on this. But within days we could. Paramount also thinks its offer could look even better when the Comcast cable network spinoff begins trading later this month. It would serve as a market comparison to the Warner Brothers Discovery stub that Netflix will leave behind. Can I tell you all this is the way to end the video. This is the way. Can I tell you all what could happen that is absolutely the nightmare scenario for Hollywood in every possible way you can imagine? And not even I, ladies and gentlemen, nor would you surely wish this upon them, because it's just too devastatingly bad. But it could happen. Imagine a world where Netflix, which wants to destroy theaters, and I know they say they don't, but trust me, they do, okay? That's my opinion. I'm allowed to have one, and I can look at what they're doing with Stranger Things, where they give them just a little taste of what it would be like, but you can't have the whole thing, right? You get a measly little 500 screenings for 24 hours. That's what Netflix is doing to the theaters. Can you imagine a world in which Netflix buys up Warner Brothers, refuses to put their movies, which, by the way, Warner Brothers is the second most profitable box office domestic studio there is, behind Disney. And it's not far behind Disney these days. Imagine a world where Netflix tells the studio or tells the theaters, you're not going to get our Warner Brothers movies. You can have it for 2 weeks, or you can have it for 1 week, or you can, you know what? We want 4 or 5 of those screens dedicated to us every single day. And our subscribers come in and scan a QR code and they can watch our stuff on your giant screen. Because it turns out that despite the fact that these giant, domestic theaters inside homes are everywhere now, your 100-inch TVs still doesn't compare to the giant screens you guys have, because we just can't build houses that big enough, darn it. So what if they scan the QR code and they come in there and they can watch Netflix inside your theater? And we're not going to pay you for that, by the way, but you'll love it because they'll come and they'll buy popcorn and soda. Okay? Imagine a scenario where that happens. And imagine a world where at the same time, Warner Brothers spins off CNN and all of their legacy cable networks. And imagine a world where Paramount, owned by the Ellisons, buddies with Trump, who felt jilted by all of this. Imagine they come riding in and buy up the Discovery component that separated itself out. And thus, CBS, Paramount, Skydance buy CNN, and Hollywood loses movies in the whole deal too. Imagine a world like that. Now, I know some of you out there. I know some of you out there say, Pro, you talk to us about AI all the time, and movie theaters, they don't have a long lease on life anyway. I mean, people are going to do virtual reality in 10 years. Like, what? Why do we care so much about movie theaters? The answer to that, folks, is they're always going to have the biggest screen, as I just kind of joked about, by mere fact of the matter that they have the biggest buildings. Right? Now, you can talk about VR, whatever you want to, and maybe in 10 years that will overtake theaters, and that'll be the way to watch everything. But right now, that's not the case. Theaters have exclusivity when it comes to the best screens and audio you will find anywhere. It's the best way to experience anything, and it's communal, and it's culturally iconic, and it's kind of this glue that holds us together, right? And we've eliminated a lot of that glue over the last 20 years, but it's still part of that glue, that fabric that holds us all together, because Republican, Democrat, conservative, liberal, lefty, righty, doesn't matter. You can go and you can watch a movie at the local Cineplex, multiplex, whatever it is. You can go watch it, and you go watch it together, and you don't ask each other, hey, I don't want to sit by you because you're a stinky liberal or you're a smelly conservative. No. Just sit next to people and have a good time and watch things. By the way, that's what made, life so grand in the 80s and the 90s, is because for a time we were able to do that. We were able to do such a thing, right? If you're a Miami Dolphins fan and you were clinging to hope of a Super Bowl still, yeah, I'm talking about you, Jeremy, if you're listening. If that was you out there, right? You didn't go to the stadium and wonder who was left or right next to you. You just said, go Dolphins, or whatever it is they say. So, folks, theaters matter. They really do. And they're always going to be the biggest and baddest, at least for the foreseeable future. And no matter what technological changes come, the real estate issue makes them be number one for experiencing something. So we don't want them to go under. Netflix, though, I think, and it's a blunder, but I think Netflix would either like for them to go down or for them to control them completely. And if Netflix starts to try to attempt that, Disney's going to have to do the same thing, and then it gets ugly real fast. Bottom line, folks, President Trump is going to decide what the future is for Hollywood. Ultimately, the Orange Man's going to decide it. And the money that flows into the celebrity homes in theatrical releases versus streaming could not be bigger. I mean, we are talking about a phenomenal difference, not only in money, but in clout, right? So let there be no doubt that the celebrities, the movie stars, their survival depends on Trump giving the win to somebody else instead of Netflix. Paramount wants the win soon, not a long time in the tooth. So what are they going to do? Well, can I tell you a secret as we wrap up? President Trump has an interest in this as well. And one of the interests that President Trump has in this, and this is, you can say it's fair or unfair. You can say, well, politics should not enter into it. It always does, always. President Trump wants CNN under his thumb. President Trump wants CNN to move away from being what it has become. He wants Scott over there. He wants Scott to be in charge with Barry Weiss. That's how, folks, that would be huge for him. And what does he want that to happen? He wants that in the midterms. So what should we pay attention to? We should pay very close attention to whether or not Paramount goes ahead and buys CNN, even before a hostile takeover, even before the Trump administration regulators get in there to take a look at this Netflix deal. We should pay attention to that, because that will be a signal. Now, folks, you can say, Pro, how do you know this stuff? I told you here repeatedly that I believe that Paramount would make a $27 per share offer. They basically did. I told you that Warner Brothers was for sale. You can go back to the first days of this channel. I told you that was why they were doing such strange things with the DCU. Told you that's what they were up to with Harry Potter. That Zaslav, the CEO of Warner Brothers, was always getting this company ready to sell. Came true, folks. And we knew it the whole way. And we told you that Paramount was going to win, and they were far and away the leader. And that's also true. But they lost at the end because of something different. It's not about money this time. It's not about money. There's something different at play here. And the game's not over. So don't follow the legacy media and say, just, don't chew what they're giving you without questioning it. Okay? Warner Brothers is still on the table. They're still on the table, and Zaslav will still take other offers. Remember that. All right, folks, it's your turn. Click the like button, share, subscribe. Drop a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts. Some of you are in favor of Netflix. Some of you are in favor of the other. Some of you just want to see the celebrities suffer. So some of you are like, I don't care if my theater goes down. I don't care if I lose my exclusive popcorn bucket. I want to see celebrities cry. Buy them, Netflix, buy them. I can't tell you what to believe. All I can tell you is, it's going to be a very interesting time going forward, where we watch the decision as to whether or not Hollywood lives, survives, or falls to Netflix. All right, folks, that's it for today. Thank you for coming our way. We'll be the place you need to be to find out what's going to happen in Hollyweird. Until the next time, keep learning, keep growing, and as always, keep having fun.